As we look at Chapter 9, we're going to focus on operational excellence, and our main content area is going to focus on enterprise applications. And so, our first question is, what are enterprise systems, or ERPs? So, here, this slide describes the main purpose of enterprise systems. And I want you to think about why it might be valuable to have one or have information from one process instantly available to another process. Enterprise systems overall feature a set of integrated software modules and what we identify as a central database. That central database is really what we refer to as the heart of an ERP system. And so that central database, business processes and functional areas throughout the enterprise or functional units or departments can share that data from that centralized database. And this graphic illustrates the function of enterprise software to integrate and share data between the different business functions. One of the key ideas of enterprise solutions is that there's quote unquote one company, one database, and not a collection of disconnected databases or functional units operating within silos. This slide describes the functions in an enterprise software package and how it might be implemented by a firm. Can you think why it is typically best to perform only minimal changes to enterprise software and instead change the way the firm works in order to conform to the software's business processes? That can sometimes be difficult to think about because conforming to the software's business process means change. And depending on culture, we all know that change can be quite challenging. This slide discusses the business values of enterprise systems. So, what does it mean for the firm that enterprise systems enforce the use of common standardized definitions and formats for data by the entire organization? The text cites the example of Alcoa, which implemented enterprise software to eliminate redundant processes and systems, reduce requisition pay to cycle time, reduce 20% of worldwide costs. This illustrates the overall tremendous value that an effective implementation of ERP software ultimately can have. This slide introduces the concept of supply chain. Supply chain management software is a type of enterprise software for managing complicated supply chains that may include thousands of suppliers. The text gives the example of Nike sneakers supply chain. What types of firms are in the upstream supply chain? What about the downstream supply chain? So this figure illustrates the major entities in Nike's supply chain and the flow of information upstream and downstream to coordinate the activities involved in buying, making, and moving a product. Shown here is a simplified supply chain with the upstream portion focusing only on the suppliers for sneakers and sneaker soles. This graphic illustrates the major entities, again, of Nike's overall supply chain. What is the difference between tier 1, 2, and 3 suppliers? Here we look at the effects of timely and untimely information on a supply chain. What causes inefficiencies in a supply chain? Perhaps parts shortages which seem to be all too familiar in today's environment, underutilized plant capacity, excessive finished goods inventory, perhaps high transportation costs. These are caused by untimely information. Perfect information can result in a just-in-time strategy. Because of uncertainties, manufacturers keep a safety stock. Why is this an inefficient result? Another effect of uncertainties is the bullwhip effect. Inaccurate information can cause minor fluctuations in demand for a product to be amplified as one moves further back in the supply chain. Minor fluctuations in retail sales for a product can create excess inventory for distributors, manufacturers, and suppliers. This graphic illustrates how a slight rise in demand by customers for an item will cause successive participants to slightly overstock related inventory just in case. These changes are then amplified as one moves back further in the system. This slide discusses the two main types of supply chain management systems. Can you explain and describe the concept of demand planning? Ultimately, it determines how much a product a business needs to make in order to satisfy that customer demand. There are additional complexities experienced by global supply chains. Today's apparel industry relies heavily on outsourcing to contract manufacturers in China and other low-wage countries. Apparel companies use the web extensively to manage their global supply chain and production issues. The fact that supply chain management systems facilitate efficient customer response ultimately allows the workings of the business to be driven more by customer demand, moving from what's referred to as push-based sequential models to pull-based or concurrent models of production. The difference between push and pull-based models is summarized by the slogan, "Make what we sell, not sell what we make." And so this graphic illustrates the difference between the earlier push-based model of supply chains to the pull-based model. Can you think of some industries uniquely suited to the pull-based model? How about automobiles, appliances, consumer durables? What do you think might be the drawbacks of a pull-based model? The emerging internet-driven supply chain operates like a digital logistics nervous system. It provides multi-directional communication among firms, networks of firms, and e-marketplaces so that the entire network of supply chain partners can immediately adjust inventories, orders, and capacities. This slide examines the value of using supply chain management systems to businesses. Now we turn to introduce the concept of customer relationship management and looking as a key function of the business and the use of CRM systems to provide a single place to consolidate and analyze data about the customer. CRM systems examine customers from a multifaceted perspective. These systems use a set of integrated applications to address all aspects of the customer relationship, including customer service, sales, and marketing. This slide discusses the types of CRM software available, which range from niche tools to full-scale enterprise-wide applications. Excuse me. Can you think of examples of PRM functions, such as integrating lead generation, pricing, promotions, order configurations, and availability tools to assess partners' performances, and ERM functions? So, for instance, setting objectives, employee performance management, performance based compensation, and employee training. Customer relationship management software provides a single point for users to manage and evaluate marketing campaigns across multiple channels. Those might include email, direct mail, telephone, the web, and social media. The major CRM software products support business processes in sales, service, and marketing, ultimately integrating customer information from many sources. Included is support for both the operational, or the front end, and the analytical aspects, or the back end, of CRM. This graphic illustrates the range of functions included in the sales, marketing, and service modules. As noted in the text, CRM software is a business process driven, incorporating hundreds of business processes thought to represent best practices in each of these areas. To achieve maximum benefit, companies need to revise and model their business processes ultimately to conform to the best practice business processes in the CRM software. This process map shows how a best practice for promoting customer loyalty through customer service would be modeled by customer relationship management software. The CRM software helps firms identify high-value customers for preferential treatment. This slide discusses the two main types of CRM software: operational and analytical. Analytical CRM uses a customer data warehouse or analytical platform and tools to analyze customer data collected from the firm's customer touchpoints and other sources. Data is captured from the various channels and fed into a customer data warehouse or analytical platform, where OLAP, data mining, and other analysis tools help identify profitable customers, churn rates, and so on. Again, we look at the value to businesses of implementing a CRM software. This slide looks at the challenges firms face when they implement enterprise applications. Can you think about examples with regards to the concept of switching costs? What problems could result from being dependent on a single software vendor? This slide looks at the trends in enterprise software. Leading vendors include SAP or SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and NetSuite.